Muy bien. ¿Quieres empezamos? Ya tenemos ahora sí que tirarla de a de veras. Ahí te la quité. ¿Está? Para volver a poner, ¿ya la pusiste desde el principio?
Voy.
Voy a poner a todos en mute. Ahí nada más te acuerdas, Rube, de quitarte el mute cuando empieces a hablar.
Ah, claro, yo.
Sí, después, ahorita te pongo en mute para empezar. Tírala, Itz.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, depending on where in the world you're joining us from, and welcome back to the 5th day of the O2LAC Virtual Week 2020. Hola a todos y bienvenidos de vuelta al quinto día de la semana O2LAC Virtual.
Welcome to this 5th week of O2LAC 2020. For 9 years, we've been offering global digital services companies of the region an opportunity to learn from industry experts about the latest trends and most recent innovations in this industry. Today's session will be in Spanish.
If you're interested in interpretation, please check out the interpretation button on the bottom of your window. Esta semana hemos tenido speakers de primerísimo nivel.
We've had excellent speakers with us this week, and today is no exception. This is our closing session today on building a VOD service from scratch, hiring Latin American tech providers. We have Rubén Mendiola Fernandez with us today, Global CEO of Entertainment and Communications, and he is also a COO and also of Entamar Media, a strategic company with activities in multicultural spaces. And Europa Más is a boutique, a video on-demand subscription service. And by the way, this will be out in the next few months, and the latest programming in all of Europe will be available to all of Latin America and the Caribbean. And he has been responsible for the general strategy, including creating the business plan, bringing together the team, implementing technology, programming, operations, marketing, subscriber experience, and others. So if you had any doubts about whether this person is qualified, you no longer have any doubts. He's also the former president of NSS Universe, a modern channel and cable channel for the US. And Ruben was with Comcast Cable before, and he was a senior vice president and general manager of multicultural services there. He's also been the general manager of Latin programming and vice president for programming and operations at Fox Sports Latin America, and director of paid television at Televisa, where he was responsible for content negotiations with Sky Entertainment Services and others in Mexico. Thank you for being with us today, Rubén. I will now give the floor to you. Well, thank you very much. It's truly a pleasure to be here with you and to be able to tell you about a project that is so close to our hearts, as is the project Europa Más. I think, in fact, this is the first time that we will talk about this with a significant audience. This is the service that we've been working on for some time, but we're almost ready to show it to the world. And what better time and place to introduce this than right now with all of you? Well, I think the first thing I'd like to do is tell you a bit about what Europa Más is. And so we have a short presentation that I'll share with you. I'd like for you to see it. So if I may, I will share my screen with you now. And we'll be able to see it in a moment.
Europa más. Bueno.
Europa Más, Europa Plus. So as Itzel mentioned, this is a subscription service for Latin America, a VOD service for Latin America. And I'll tell you a little bit about what it actually is. But before I'll tell you a bit about the industry, this is an industry that has been growing in the last few years, and it has grown based on the paradigm that people decided or changed their TV viewing habits. Years ago, watching television meant, among other things, that if there was a soap opera that you wanted to watch at 8 p.m., or something that was broadcast at 2 p.m., you had to drop everything and run to your TV, otherwise you would miss out. And I think the arrival of services such as Netflix caused people to radically change the way in which they wanted to consume TV content. And so now we have what we call in English appointment television, which means you can be having dinner with your family or doing something else. And you decide, well, when we get back from the beach, we'll watch a movie, or after dinner, we'll watch some concert or some special show. So people watch television now when they want, where they want, how they want. This is also very important. And obviously, this is a little different than how cable and open TV worked. And it's something that has really strengthened VOD services. And as Itzel mentioned, I've been working for many years in subscription entertainment services. And one thing that has been, for me, perhaps what I could call a very personal passion of mine is the ability to take care of minority groups and multicultural groups that perhaps are a bit neglected in general. And one more thing about VOD. VOD in the US, in Europe, is well developed. And there are many VOD services. In Latin America, we are lagging a bit behind. And I think one of the reasons why we are lagging behind in Latin America is because there are still several places where broadband internet is not universally available. So internet services are just not very robust in many areas, and this means that these VOD services haven't fully developed. But in reality, especially now, with the very particular situation we are experiencing now with the pandemic, I think people have been forced to find ways to improve their internet connectivity so they can get online, so they can access e-commerce. And one of the big beneficiaries of this has undoubtedly been VOD. The group that I work with, the group that I'm fortunate enough to be able to work with, had been working with this together with me for a long time. In Latin America, we have services such as Netflix and Amazon Prime. In Mexico, you have others. You have Fox as well, HBO, and all of Latin America. And soon, I think they'll have Disney Plus or Apple Plus. But the truth is that these are targeted to the general market. These are services that are one size fits all, where the needs of the general market are fulfilled. But the company that I work with is called Castalia. It's been in the market for over 15 years, a great professional history representing many cable channels and TV channels all over Latin America and in the US and Canada as well. And this company and I myself have always tried to take care of multicultural groups, smaller cultural groups. And in this regard, we find that for Latin America, there are almost no boutique VOD services available for these smaller groups. And one of these groups, one that I feel is very important, is that group that likes to have other TV options, not necessarily perhaps the content that is generated in the US, in the United States, which is very good, but it's not all that there is. In Europe, there's content that's also wonderful, with a different sensitivity, perhaps, that might be perhaps a bit closer to how we feel in Latin America. And there are many shows that have not been seen in Latin America or that have hardly been seen at all. And that's why we created Europa Más, Europe Plus, so you can see what it's about, and then we'll continue talking.
3, 2, 1, via! Ja. Merci beaucoup!
That's our introductory video. I think you're the first group of people to see it, and that makes us very happy. Europa Más, Europe Plus, as I was saying, seeks to satisfy a very particular need of a multicultural group, perhaps expats in this case, or people of European descent who live in Latin America, as well as people who appreciate and have a passion for Europe and for European content, for the continent's history, for European sensitivities, as we might call them. In the presentation, you could see, or here you can see our numbers, and they can be quite impressive. And so now there is that ability to have a VOD service that covers all of Latin America, providing this type of service with no bandwidth issue, without a need for specific agreements with distributors so you can reach the consumer directly. In this case, we will go directly to the consumer, but Europa Más will also be a solution for cable services, for paid TV services, for telecommunication services that are interested in Latin America and in bringing that type of content to this audience. Europa Más is a service that provides a touch of European culture in people's lives, that offers the audience this chance to see programming with a bit of a different perspective, different sensitivities. We see what we have now at this time. We can see what there is in Europe right now. We can see what is the most popular, or what are the most popular and most recent productions of a group of companies that are the main ones in Europe. For people who live in Latin America, whether they came from Europe to work in Latin America, or whether it's because they are students and they're studying in Latin America, or they have family there, or they want to spend a long period of time in Latin America. One of the challenges for those people is that perhaps they don't have much TV entertainment to watch. So this is for those people, also for people perhaps of European descent, and just in general people who appreciate Europe. And this platform will be distributed throughout Latin America and the Caribbean. And we will have a selection, a curated selection of shows. And the curators will be a team of people who have a lot of knowledge about European programming. But also we know that these are the shows with the best rating, the most successful shows in Europe, and those are the ones we will bring to Latin America. We will have over 1,500 hours of premium content programming. It's a subscription VOD service, so no commercial ads, and there will be a very interesting variety of shows. I'll tell you a little bit about it. We have French drama, we have German crime shows, shows for children, British shows, and you can watch these on any device or on the web, on a cell phone, on an iPad, on your television set directly through Roku or Apple TV or Comcast. And you can also download the shows into your device if you're leaving town for a weekend. If you're going to be somewhere where you don't have Wi-Fi access, you're going to be on an airplane, you can just download a show and watch it. Also, we are looking to have a lot of interaction with our audience. There are chats within the platform where people can discuss the shows online. They can tell us what they like on social media. And the type of programming we have agreements with the BBC of the UK. We have all kinds of shows, from documentaries that are very popular in Latin America, but many others that have never been seen. Stand-up comedy shows, for example, comedy series or reality series. And the BBC's quality is very high, of course. And there's a lot of BBC programming that we will be bringing to Latin America for the first time. We also have some shows from Northern Europe. DAG is probably the most successful comedy in Norway. Very dark humor, but very, very fun. I think people will enjoy it. We have this other series, for example. It's a makeover reality show where somebody does a makeover for your house, but this is in Norway, so it could be a cabin out in the woods where there's snow everywhere. You can't even reach the place. I think people who love this type of show will find this fascinating. Then from Germany, we've got ZDF. They have a police crime show. I think it's been on the air for 30 years in Germany. And it's maybe similar to Law and Order in the US. And Law and Order isn't even as old as this one. And last year, I think, or 2 years ago, the main protagonist was switched. The actor was switched. And we have the seasons from now, the current ones that are being shown in Germany now. Mediaset is an Italian company, a very prominent company. They have a lot of series, crime shows, mafia shows, some funny shows as well. Perhaps you saw in our video, we have some reality cooking shows. This, La Regina di Palermo, the Queen of Palermo, has been a milestone in terms of shows in Italy. When it came on the air, everything stopped. Then we have Studio Canal from France. We have a lot of series from this company, Vernon Subutex. And what's really remarkable is that is what people are seeing in France right now. So it's not just something that's very popular, it's something that's very popular right now. You're not missing out on anything. And for the little ones, there's a company called Studio 100, and we have children's series. And what's interesting here is that these series are available in German, in English, and in French. So these are very high quality shows available in these 3 different languages. So if you want your child to learn another language, or you want to keep your child from forgetting the family's native language, here's a good option. We had already seen this very briefly. These are the platforms where we will be available, the countries. We think that will be ready to be out on the market next month, or at least in the next few months. And all the content of this platform will have its original audio. This is very important. And in many cases, it will have subtitles in English, in Spanish, in Portuguese, in Italian, in German. We have 9 different languages, and even more in terms of subtitles. And really, the interest that we've seen in this platform has been great. So we felt that we could add even more Spanish subtitling to this programming, so even more people could enjoy these shows. And as I was saying, our interest is in providing something to this group that hasn't really received much attention in Latin America. And before we go on to the next topic, I wanted to mention another company called Spiegel from Germany. It's the main news outlet in Germany, and we have wonderful content from them. Then there's another company similar to that we have, and many others that we are negotiating agreements right now. So we'll have even more of this content available. We feel it's very relevant for Latin America. Now, when I was talking about this introduction, I wanted to mention a little bit about what we see as the main topic of this conference. And it's the fact that we are actually a startup, and we're small, we're very small. And the fact is that we always thought that we would create an ecosystem of partners who would help us to offer those services that we have on the platform. As a technological partner, there's a company, I don't know how many awards they've received. If I give you their CVs, you won't believe it. We're so happy to be with them. They're called Stream. I think I'd have to give an entire presentation just to cover all their advantages. So they've been wonderful, and with them, we've been able to adapt and create the platform that we wanted. And there's no difference between that and the platforms you are used to using, such as Netflix and Amazon. In fact, I would think that our platform has certain features that make it more modern. Of course, it's newer. We're just putting the finishing touches on it, that I think work better thanks to all the learning experiences that we've had in the market. In terms of programming license, I've talked to you about all these different European program generators, and this team that is helping us select content. And when we talk about outsourcing professional services, I think it's important to talk about this, because when you create a service such as this one, there are things that you need. We have a company, for example, eStream is a company that I think could be anywhere in the world, but they're based in Miami, and one of the partners, the technological person, is Venezuelan. The other partner is Italian, and he lived in Latin America for many, many years, and now he's in Miami. We have a very dear friend of ours who is a person who represents us, and he's in Colombia, and they have operations in Eastern Europe. So when you talk about digital services, I think people can be anywhere in the world. Of course, we do prefer to work with people from Latin America, but very often what ends up being more important is for people to have the necessary experience, not really so much where they're located, and for them to be able to provide solutions. We've also hired services from an advanced analytics company that's in Spain, John TV, and our agency, Randy, they worked on our image on studios there in Britain. We're very happy with the results of that collaboration. Marketing and growth strategies are something that a friend and partner of mine does. His name is Bradley Pitts. Brad Pitts is my marketing person. I love that. And his company is the Open Group, and they've also provided great support to us. And there's an interesting story here. Obviously, there's a social media company called Later and MailChimp. All these types of services that everyone knows are necessary, but we've also found companies in Latin America. And if we had found one for this, we would have used it. In fact, the company that's going to take care of digital media purchasing decisions, etc., we wanted to work with companies in Latin America. And one of the things that we realized is that they were either too big and traditional, and they weren't focused as we were on the ROI, or in other cases, they were just too small and they didn't have the necessary digital experience. So we ended up choosing a company, believe it or not, from South Africa. And they have experience, they've been very good. They're these kind of mad scientist types, and they're on Google all day long, Facebook, and they were the ones who provide the service to us. And we would have loved to have been able to work with people in Latin America. And I think my comment here would be that it would be very important to be able to find more of these types of digital companies in Latin America. Perhaps if we could find them on the web, if they did better networking with people, because this kind of thing is important. And finally, this is the experience we have with Castalia, and now that I have this opportunity to work with them, we've been working in entertainment for many years, and what we're doing now is bringing this entertainment into the digital realm. So we are about to go into beta, and I want to tell you a little bit about that in a few seconds. We're making the final adjustments. We are soon to do our commercial launch, and we are extending what we do geographically. And there's another thing that's important. We will be able to provide these kinds of services through other platforms with other types of content, with all of this knowledge that we already have in the team, the group that we've already formed. So we can provide very boutique type VOD services, perhaps with commercials, a VOD services they're called in Latin America, with this team that we have formed. And we wanted to invite you, if you want to learn more about Europa Más. Of course, yeah, I could sit here talking to you for 3 hours or 3 days, and our time is almost up. So if you'd like to know more about Europa Más, or if you want to be a part of our beta launch, which will happen, I think, next week, please go into europaplus.com and leave us your email address, and we will contact you and provide information. And just for this conference, especially, what we wanted to do was to invite all of you to be part of our beta launch, to be part of this story that we are creating in Latin America. If you're interested in seeing how something like this works, please give us your email and we will send you an invitation to be part of this beta launch that we are about to go into. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I will now give the floor back to Itzel so we can continue this conversation. Thank you very much. Thank you. This was really interesting, and interesting to understand everything that's behind the launch of a service such as this one. We have several questions, but we'll choose a couple of them. Some of them are very practical questions. Beta is about to come out, the pandemic, there's no end in sight to that. Do you think that's an advantage or a disadvantage? Would you have rather have some different circumstances or conditions? How do you see this? Well, of course, I'll try to answer as honestly as possible. With the services we provide, one of the things we do is to satisfy needs of people who don't usually have this kind of opportunity. When I work with multicultural groups, bringing Spanish entertainment to Spanish speakers in the US, for example, one thing that happens is that when you see your people there, when you can identify with them, when you can fully enjoy their humor, when you see something that you identify with, you feel less lonely. And I think this pandemic that has forced us all to stay home, we ourselves in our team discussed this. And what we felt is that it's an opportunity. We need to work a lot harder, but we can bring people this entertainment, which we feel is a need of the market. So it is an opportunity. We will not have a traditional type of launch, but digitally, we are in all the way. We think it will be very well received in the market, and we're very excited, and we think this will help a lot of people. Yes, I think it will be very well received. Another question is, what type of companies do you negotiate with in order to acquire content? How does it happen? Is it the producers or the distributors who sell them in packages, or how does this happen?
Well, generally speaking, I would say that it's a matter of if you have a movie that you created or something like that, then you're going to want to try to sell it. And in this case, because we were going to look for the most relevant content from Europe, so we went to television companies that create this content who are market leaders, such as the BBC in England, Canal Plus in France, in Italy, Mediaset is a market leader there, CTDF in Germany. So we've been talking to them about bringing their programming to Latin America for the first time, and I think that's what we've been doing. But there are also people who represent distributors. As you know, in the Latin American market, even here in the US, where there are global markets for purchasing television shows. So depending on the type of product you have, then I think it's important to go to people who have the most relevant products for you and try to purchase those. So when we're thinking about European markets, are there Latin American markets that are more attractive than others specifically for this service? I think so, although I would say that the beauty of VOD is that you can really offer the service everywhere from day one. And then anyone, you know, one of the things that happened is Argentina, a place near and dear to my heart because I've worked in Argentina for many years and I really love its people. So there are a lot of people of Italian and German descent, a lot of Germans and Italians who came after World War II who have now started families. They have families in these countries, and these families then have that direct link to Europe. So that's one example, and I think in Chile as well, that is the case. But the great thing about VOD is that you don't have to live in a cosmopolitan city where there are a lot of people of your generation. You can live in the tiniest town. If you have an internet connection and you're in Latin America, then you can subscribe to this and then immediately watch all of its programming. If due to chance life took you somewhere, or you fell in love and got married in Latin America and you went to a tiny town, then that's the thing. And that's the great thing about these digital entertainment services. You can access them anywhere. Right. Okay, one last question and we'll let you go. We know it's Friday afternoon and your time is very valuable, so thank you very much for that. When you were talking about services or Latin American suppliers, you said that you hadn't worked with them because they weren't focused so much on the ROI. So I was wondering what exactly that means, what kind of focus you're talking about there. Well, for example, I think that all of us, this is a great question. Thank you to whoever asked it because I think it's worth answering, but I felt that I was taking too long, so I started going a little faster. For a company like ours, it's very important to get out onto the market soon, and we need to work with one group and be relevant. It's a niche group, really. It's a small group. It's not for the general market. So people come and tell you, all right, I'm going to do a great branding campaign. You'll be out there in all Mexico City. And I tell them, well, thank you, but really, that's the traditional way you would launch a product like this, but you're not really understanding us. One of our needs today is that we need to do PR, right? So we're going to do a bit of PR all over Latin America. And PR is really interesting because when everyone's at home and no one can leave the house, then I think there's a new way of learning how to do PR in Latin America and worldwide, really. And what I would tell you there is that PR solutions that we need, what we need is for them to be very well tailored to our own needs. And the money that we're investing, because everyone does this kind of thing, you want to invest money and get the right results for your investment. So we want to be relevant to the group that we are relevant to. So we don't necessarily want to be the biggest player on the market. We want to be important for the people that we need to reach. So the return on investment is extremely important there. What you want in English is you want to be research focused. I've lived in the US for so long, and you want to get results. So that's what I'm talking about. I think that there is a huge opportunity out there to help digital companies in Latin America, but the idea is to really meet the needs of that business. It's not the toolbox, the same toolbox you would use for any other company. I think that in the past that would have worked. I think even before the pandemic that would have worked. But right now, it doesn't make sense at all. So what you want is you want partners who understand what you're trying to do. You want them to be as passionate as you are, and you want them to help you get the results that you need that are relevant. So I'll go back to the same thing. The big challenge I had is that there were so many people who want to conduct great branding campaigns for us and run those, but that's not where we are. And that's not who we are either. Like I was saying, I'm not going to compete with Netflix. I would like to complement Netflix. I want people to see us as, you know, if you want a little bit more, or if you want a splash of European content in your life, if that's important to you, then come to us and we will be important to them. But I don't need to be everything to everyone, because that's for a general market and we are a niche service. No, that's all very clear. You didn't find one, you only found one size fits all solutions there. Oh, streaming VOD, so what I need to do is, you know, put you up on billboards all over the city. So you didn't get that kind of support. Well, and you can't do that either, right? I mean, I don't know how to say this. I would love to be important in many areas in Latin America, but our current situation means that our current reality means that solutions need to be different. So that's what we're looking for. When you said to me, has the pandemic made a difference? Well, it's made us focus a whole lot more on what's truly important and what maybe sometimes isn't as important. So that's what we want to do. We want to reach our core group very effectively, because sometimes if you do all of that, you're missing the people who you really want to reach. Sure, of course. But people who have solutions for us in PR in many areas as far as how to reach people and do very special things. So these special groups, for example, groups of expats or the European community, European descendants in Latin America, people who like culture, who know about Europe, who know about entertainment, well, then anyone who does that, please come to us. We'd love to be partners with as many people as possible, and we'd like to continue to work with more people in Latin America, because we believe that this is a great business that we're about to undertake. We're very happy about it, and we want to continue to find these partners out there who are as excited about this as we are. Great, so with that open invitation to all of you, I think we'll bring this to a close. Thank you very much, Ruben, for your time today, for your presentation, for the video today. That was spectacular. It was really exciting, and I would like to watch those programs. Actually, thanks for the scoop. So thank you for your time. Thank you to our audience who was with us for 5 meetings today. Thank you for your time as well. Remember that next week we will continue with more events. We'll start on Monday, so don't miss all of our meetings. You can go to O2LAC.com. Ruben, thanks again. What a great afternoon, and everyone have a great weekend. Thank you.